So the order book is showing us here where the most people want to buy or sell. And the order, for whatever reason, Bitcoin's price action likes to creep towards the most liquidity. It's just like you would go to sell where there was, if you were trying to sell a product and say you were trying to sell cold drinks, would you go to the ice skating rink near your house, or would you go near the beach, right, where there was so many people out there? So think about Bitcoin trying to get sold, and think about this being the beach and this, the whole point. And if that's confusing, just know that this is where the most people want to do stuff. This is where the most people want to sell Bitcoin here. And if Bitcoin can get up, and then you're like, well, what's a liquidations? Well, it's the people that are shorting Bitcoin with leverage. So they've taken 1,000, and the guy said, well, I'll give you 9 more, and I'll call it 10x. And the guy's like, all right, I'll take 10x. He's like, yeah, but you're into Bitcoin now. You're buying it at 21,000, and you're like, yeah, if you were buying at spot, you could put a stop loss up here above 22K. I was like, but nah, you're borrowing my money, and you know what? You're making it risky for me, because if you win, you're going to take my money, and I'm a businessman, and I don't want you to. Not everyone can win here at my leverage trading exchange. So what I need to do here is I need to put a liquidation on you. And you're going to be like, what do you mean? Yeah. And you're like, yeah. Well, the more you take from me, the lower your liquidation is, and the closer it's going to be to the price. And you're going to be like, but why, sir? I thought we had this cool thing going, and I can make a little off of you. And I know, my man, I know. But, I just don't trust you with that $9,000. And, I just need to protect my investment. So if the price goes, so you get in, and if the price goes to like 21,750, you're going to get what's called liquidated, meaning they're going to clear your whole bag, everything you have. Even if you didn't put it in if you're trading in isolated, then they're going to take whatever you have in the trade, fine. But if you're trading cross leverage, and that's the thing, there's isolated and cross. A lot of people don't know the difference. Isolated means you're just going to take what you have in the trade, okay? But if you're trading cross leverage, that means that what you have in your account. And see, that's another thing with leverage that people don't understand. Beginners don't get this. When you're trading spot and you have $5,000 in your account, and you go and put $1,000 into a trade, right? And if that trade goes wrong, you lose $1,000. If that trade goes to zero, you lose $1,000, period. And you still have your $5,000 sitting in your hand, in your account. You see what I mean? Right? So boom, there you have it. Now, when you're trading leverage, cross leverage, and you put $1,000 trade in, and the trade, and let's just say you want to put a stop loss, they're going to get your liquidation price, and it's going to basically take a denomination and do a calculation of all the money you have in your account too. So if you have $10,000, they're going to say your liquidation is, so if you put $1,000 in a trade and you keep $9,000, right? And you do cross leverage, your liquidation might be $20,500. But if you have $15,000 in your account and you do $1,000, your liquidation will be lower. The more you have in your account, the more you can, and so what happens to people is they start with $1,000 and they say I'm going to trade easy, $500 trades, that's it. And they get into a leverage trade, and then it's really close that they're going to get pushed out and liquidated. So they flip it to, or they trade cross on purpose, and then as it gets lower and lower, and eventually they realize they're going to lose all their money in their account, so they just pump more money into the back end of the account, which opens the liquidation price lower. Then they fall asleep and wake up. So what they do is they keep feeding money into the account on cross leverage, so they don't put money into the trade. You get married. The trade's open. It's $1,000 trade, but they just keep adding to the money they have in the account because it's called cross leverage. These people don't realize what they're doing. I'm telling you, by the time they figured all this out, they've lost so much money, and they're like, what the? And it's not fully, truly explained, I don't think, by everyone out there, So it just, I always heed everyone. I was taught by a mentor, and he said to me, Sam, I want you to trade. He said, I would like to see you trade 2 to 3 years spot, and I'd like to see you trade spot, basically dang near perfectly, and show me that you can really do this. And then, and only then, and he says, and I still wouldn't, but then and only then would I even suggest someone to trade leverage. And to this day, he tells me, hey, I don't use leverage, and I don't use leverage either. I say the same thing. So, I use 3X and 3Ls. I use 3X leverage. And you know what? Like, if you want, you can use whatever you want. And again, I'm going to people can do whatever they want, and they're going to do whatever they want. And I'm not hating on anyone that trades leverage, because some people are really good at it, and that's their bread and butter. And if you're good at anything, then that's your love. So I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just saying a lot of people don't know the difference between isolated and cross leverage. I see a lot of people ask me, hey, Sam, I'm trading leverage, but I see this button that says cross and isolated, and they don't know what it is, you know. I lost 20K cross leverage trading, went to 0. Lifers teaching a better path. Shout out to Normal Guy, man, stepping up.